Hey guys, so to like it is, in this video the silent majority is going to be decoded. The silent majority were not Donald Trump supporters like the media was trying to imply, that it was a silent majority that came out and voted for Donald Trump. The real reality was that the silent majority were the voices that were silenced in this election. And what am I talking about? Is that Bernie Sanders got ripped off from the DNC, from the Democratic National Convention, in place of Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders had the most support, but the elections were rigged against him in the primaries, and the Democratic National Convention email leak on the 7th month of the 22nd day, July the 22nd, occurred as a result of Russian Trump collusion in this election to allow Donald Trump to repay back debts that he owes to Russian oligarchs. July the 22nd, day of the Democratic National Convention, the Russians hacked the Democratic National Committee servers. They tried to get Hillary Clinton's emails. What Donald Jr. and Eric Trump met with that Russian lawyer, they were trying to dig up dirt on Hillary Clinton, and that's what exactly occurred on July the 22nd, the 22nd day of the 7th month, rigged for Donald Trump. That was the election in a nutshell. It was Democratic voters in Gematria that equals 190. They are the silent majority. Democratic voters were the silent majority. They were the silent majority that would have went out there and voted for Bernie Sanders if he were the nominee in the place of Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders was polled to beat Donald Trump by double digits, while Hillary Clinton, it was only single digits and under 5%. So this was how the deep state and Putin and Trump had to rig the election here. It was number one, Hillary, she had to rig it against Bernie Sanders. So the elite, they don't have Bernie Sanders on the general election. Putin hacked into the DNC servers so he could instigate division and chaos within the Democratic Party as to weaken it, as to try to get to have people vote for Donald Trump himself. But that was not what happened in this election. Mitt Romney won 47% of the vote in 2012. Well, Donald Trump won a lower percentage of the vote than Mitt Romney did. Trump only had 46% of the vote. Hillary Clinton, she had 48% of the vote. It was the Democratic voters that voted for Barack Obama in 2012 that ended up staying home. From 61 million for Mitt Romney to 62.9 million here was attributed to population growth. While the Democrats, they should be picking up more votes, 65.8 million for Hillary Clinton, well, that was 65.9 for Barack Obama. So even with increased population, few people vote for Barack Obama. The Republicans couldn't even gain a higher percentage of the vote in 2016 than in 2012. It was the people that stayed home that made the biggest difference. Mitt Romney, Donald Trump lost 1% of the vote for the GOP, while the Democratic Party, they lost close to 3% of the vote. So it was the voters that would have voted for Bernie Sanders that end up staying home. It was because the election was rigged. The silent majority were Bernie Sanders supporters. Donald Trump won against the silent majority that couldn't vote for Bernie Sanders, Democratic voters. The silent majority didn't vote for Donald J. Trump. That is a matter of fact. President Sanders should have been our president instead if this were the case. If we truly had free and democratic elections in America, Bernie Sanders should have won. But instead, President Putin prevented President Sanders when he had Donald Trump in there to serve as a puppet for Vladimir Putin. He hijacked the DNC servers. The elite out there made sure that Bernie wasn't running against Donald Trump because the deep state wants Russia, a strong Russia, to instigate World War III. They needed a useful idiot in the White House, the synagogue of Satan, the beast out there, the Zionist bankers. They are a part of the synagogue of Satan. Donald Trump won. Synagogue of Satan. Silent majority. Synagogue of Satan equals 223 and 79 in gematria. It is collude with Russia that Donald Trump did, which is what the gang did for Donald Trump to sell his soul so he can repay back his debts. The silent majority equals 223 and 79. Collude with Russia, colluded against the silent majority. And as a result, we get a completely incompetent, narcissistic, and self-serving puppet. Donald John Trump is the worst president in U.S. history equals 223. That's what he did, was he colluded with Russia. The worst president in American history is an open traitor to serve as Putin's puppet to make them stronger so they can instigate World War III. One of the ways to do that is to weaken NATO, is for Putin to take the precedence against ISIS. Donald Trump, August the 2nd, he said, "I'm afraid the election's going to be rigged." August the 2nd, 2016. Flashback to what I've covered. I'm afraid the election is going to be rigged. Donald Trump knew the election was going to be rigged. The silent majority did not vote for Donald Trump. They wanted Bernie Sanders. The DNC email hacks. Clinton win the nomination. Demoralized Bernie supporters. That's the moment Vladimir Putin won the election there. It was July the 22nd. It's part of the Grand Master Plan. Americans hate Trump because they know he's the worst president in American history. Notice that Americans hate Trump equals the same Pythagorean gematria value of collude with Russia in the synagogue of Satan, what the Zionist gang out there did to rig the election. Bernie Sanders, Ron Paul #2. Americans hate Trump, the worst president, because of unpopular economics that serve the wealthy. That's been tried all over again. That's nothing but a big disaster. It's going to bankrupt America and send the $1 trillion deficit in 2019. Libertarian economics is what the Zionist bankers like, is they like debt. Silent majority didn't want Trump. 141 in gematria. It's because the silent majority supports Sanders. The silent majority didn't vote for the worst president in history. All 141 in gematria. Trump is a useful idiot. It was the left that knew. It was liberals that knew that Donald Trump was going to be a disaster. People thought that Donald Trump had any sort of sanity left, but he never did. It's because he is the puppet of the deep state that was put in there to start World War III. That is what no one is talking about. World War III and President Putin equals 73. World War III equals 141. That's where you know that you have a useful idiot that's going to serve the KGB and Donald Trump. It's simple as that. Colluded with Russia, or rather in gematria it is collusion that equals 120 in gematria. Trump is the worst president because of collusion equaling 120 in gematria. And going to my email here, because all my references were wiped out, all my work has been wiped out, I'm here to show you the rest. So once this loads, I will show you the rest here, if I have anything else. Oh yeah, that's right. So Trump being the worst president here, I'm going to show you some links. So I've covered the margins, how the Democrats lost more voters than Republicans, and Republicans won a lower percentage of the vote than the last election. It was these swing states. These 6 states were won by margins of less than 2%. Michigan, Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota. 4 states won by Trump were all won by Obama in 2012. Pennsylvania and Michigan had not voted for a Republican president since George H.W. 1988. Wisconsin, not since 1984. So against the corporate Democrat here, the most unpopular Democratic nominee in history, outside of the most popular Democratic candidate in history, Bernie Sanders, well, now Democratic since he's really technically independent. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania account for 46 electoral votes. You know, the 46th president, Grover Cleveland had 2 terms, so that's why there's really 46 presidents in American history, presidents to be inaugurated. Chaos equals 46 in gematria. Chaos equals 46. We're getting a chaos president in the White House right now. It is Americans against Trump and all these people that are nothing but, retards for continuing to support what clearly is an unhinged idiot. Retarded chimpanzees. With an ED equals 89. Supply side economics equals 89 is what they've given us right now. Supply side economics equals 89. But here, I wanted to show you just how rigged this election was even more. Bernie Sanders was robbed equals 222 in 96 in gematria, and we have the Deep State versus Bernie Sanders. So let me let's see, share that to you. Just copy and paste. The Deep State versus Bernie in simple gematria equals 222. Bernie Sanders was robbed, and you can see that here 87 is Russia, that equals 87. Again, far right idiocracy. Rigged for Trump, that equals 87. This is how you know that there is open collusion, and this is how you know that the silent majority support Bernie Sanders. Was that the tax cuts that Donald Trump passed were one of the most unpopular in history. The silent majority hates President Donald John Trump equals 211. It is because the Trump economy equals 211, which is nothing but tax breaks for the rich, equals 211. Highly unpopular. So supply side economics is a scam, I think, equals, or supply side is a scam. Yes, supply side is a scam. You see, people, it's nothing but a scam. It's tax breaks for the rich. They don't invest when they're given tax breaks. This is how it is a scam. That's what the Trump economy is. Once we're in the $1 trillion deficit next year in 2019 is when this deficit is going to occur. Silent majority did not want President Trump. And this is what right-wing economics is. It completely serves the wealthy, unlike the economics put out by the Democratic Party, despite what the corporate Democrats want. These corporate Democrats like war. They like the health. They don't want single payer in America, so they're on the pocketbook of the billionaires. Completely different Democratic Party than 40, 50 years ago when they traditionally had dominance over Congress. And once big money came in, the party changed forever. So here, continuing on here, the election was effectively decided by 107,000 people. That amounts to 0.09% of ballots this election. Trump won by 68,000 votes, Pennsylvania, 11,000 Michigan, 27,000 Wisconsin. Very, very slim margins. So were the vote counts rigged for Donald Trump? Who knows what kind of activity Russia could have been involved in this election. One of the most unpopular presidents ever. He was booed and jeered by thousands outside during the inauguration. There were protests at Trump Tower when he came back. 2017, Trump became the most unpopular president after a first year, failed with Obamacare, passed a tax break that benefited the wealthiest Americans. It was Trump himself that said that you guys got a lot richer. This bill was passed December the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, when everyone was distracted with the holidays. Political scientists are ranking him as the worst president in American history without any experience. An open traitor, associates himself with mobsters. Is why you get some of that disgusting character. Is he surrounds himself with bad people, with very corrupt people. He likes to bully Congress. He does not want to compromise, try to find a common solution. He is leaving many spots vacated and not filled at a record level during this presidency so far. So that was the article that I've covered from Donald Trump here. 171 days from August the 2nd to January the 20th. It is World War III that equals 121. It may be Vladimir Putin that equals 171. I have to go check. How popular is he really? 52%, 51, 53, 41% approve of him. That's over 10%. This is not fake news. This was open collusion on behalf of Putin to start World War III with the help of his Zionist backers. The same bankers are helping Donald Trump right now. Trump is serving as a puppet to Russia to make Putin and the KGB stronger. The Zionists are backing both sides because this is what they want in order to begin World War III. Sanders, 80 and 26 would have been the real president, Bernie Sanders. Putin equals 80 and 26 in gematria. Rigged equals 50. Donald equals 50 in gematria. I think he made those comments 50 days from August 2nd to October the 7th, the day of Vladimir Putin's birthday, is on 10-7. That was a lot like the 107,000 mentioned combined people that decided the election. You know, these people. You know, I want to make Mexico pay for the world. You know, I could shoot someone at the middle of Fifth Avenue and I still wouldn't lose any voters. Repeal and replace from day one by Obamacare was a complete disaster. You all just got a lot richer. I mean, Vladimir Putin has got everything he wanted within America. He did not even have to take over America by force. Vladimir Putin's useful idiots are supporters of this open traitor. President Trump supporters. Every action he's done has made Russia and Putin stronger. Oh, let's break apart NATO. Let's make Eastern Europe open to attack. That's what NATO has served for over 50 years, prevent another great world war. And that just plays into the hands of Vladimir Putin. Weakening our allies, dividing our allies is only going to make Vladimir Putin stronger. Divide and conquer tactics is what Vladimir Putin wants in order to have invasion. Merkel said that she'd have to do this alone. And that's what Vladimir Putin wants. And Trump's actions are playing to Putin's hands. No, I have every reason to believe Vladimir Putin. You see, money laundering from Trump Tower to so-called Russian tenant addresses is how he launders money back and forth from Russia. He can only receive money from Russian oligarchs. And he owes debt to the mob in Russia. Vladimir Putin and the Zionists have put Donald Trump in there to start World War III. In World War III, and the rich getting richer with all the benefits and all the tax breaks was not the America that I saw. Trying to dismantle, take away health insurance from millions of people is not the America that I saw. The silent majority had no voice this past election. Bernie Sanders should have been president. This was an illegitimate result. elections are rigged, but what made this election really particular was that it was influenced by foreign officials. So our own elections now being influenced by foreign internationals. And all the Russian connections in Trump's cabinet, openly, they have hijacked our electoral process. So I wonder what that equals. Putin hijacked the election, the presidential election. Well, I'll just end it here. The silent majority. Next election, we're going to help Elizabeth Warren win. I can always talk more about that. But this video was about the silent majority that stayed home right after Bernie Sanders got screwed from the nomination, right after the hack of the DNC servers that was how collusion won the election.